A couple of years ago, my wife sends me to the store to buy two things, trash bags and dish soap. I take my 4-year-old son with me and we have a blast, we have a great time. And I found a 2.5 gallon bottle of bubbles and some swim toys and everything like that. And we bought those and we got back and we're really excited to show my wife. And when we get home, she looks at everything and says, "This is great, but where's the dish soap and the trash bags?" And so when we went, I didn't buy the only two things she sent me to the store to get. As Christians, I fear that we neglect the one thing that Jesus has sent us out to do, and that is to make disciples. We build programs, we make decisions, and we do all these things that they're perfectly good, but they're not a replacement for what God has called us to do. In the book of Matthew, Jesus says in verse 19, "Follow me and I will make you fishers of men." That's a familiar verse for a lot of people, but I fear that the way that we read it or we have heard it is Jesus saying, "Follow me and you will be fishers of men." But the reality is there's a process. Here at the Grove, we land on 3 basic principles from that verse. Seek Jesus, surrender to Him daily, and share the gospel. The calling to plant a church in Southeast Kansas was irresistible. And when it came time to name the church, we chose the Grove. A grove is a gathering of fruit-bearing trees, and this is a natural occurrence. It can happen because of one piece of felled fruit. We have a goal as a church to reach 100 people in the next year with the gospel in order that we can affect change in 1/3 of 1% of the lost people in our county. This is the biggest thing that we could do with our lives. This is the best thing we could invest our time in, is reaching people with the good news of Jesus. Why? Because we don't want to be the kind of people who show up in front of Jesus without the one thing He sent us to get, and that was disciples. And so I'd like to ask you to join us in prayer. Ask the Lord to provide us opportunities to engage with people, to invest in people, to the courage to invite people to join us in worship, to meet the Lord, to know the Lord as their Savior. And finally, to ask the Lord to involve those people in His kingdom. Sharing the gospel is something that's needed every place where there is a human being, whether it be a small town like Arma, Kansas, the town that you live in, or the largest city you can think of. Let's be diligent to work together wherever we're at to share the best of news that Jesus saves sinners and watch Him transform where we live.